Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to go on a pretty fascinating journey. We're starting with the identity that's stamped right there on our passports and expanding all the way out to a global mindset. So let's dive in and figure out what that really means. Just think about it for a second. Your passport, it's a legal document. It tells everyone where you're from. But in a world that's more connected than ever before, does that one little book really tell the whole story? Who are you on this planet that we all share? So to get our heads around that big question, we've got to start with the basics. We're going to break down what citizenship is at its core, the real foundations of what it means to belong to any community. Okay, so it really helps to think of citizenship as having like three main parts, right? It's not just one thing. First up, you've got your legal status. This is your passport, your rights, the protection you get from your government. Then number two is political participation. This is the active part, voting, getting involved in public life. And finally, there's social identity. This is that deep down feeling of belonging, of being an equal part of the whole. You really need all three to make it work.
All right, so let's make this real. We're going to look at a powerful example of how this all plays out. We're turning to India, a nation whose story is a really unique and incredible look at the massive shift from being subjects under colonial rule to becoming active, engaged citizens.
And wow, this comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? Before independence, the entire point of civics class was to create loyal subjects for the empire. But after 1947, a complete 180. The new mission was to help develop citizens who were informed, active, and responsible. It was a total game changer. And this modern goal wasn't just an idea. It was written into the law. It's right there in the Constitution and spelled out in the Citizenship Act. And on top of that, a whole series of national education policies have kept pushing this forward, with the most recent one in 2020 really focusing on skills like critical thinking and having a strong ethical compass. But here's something really cool. Even as India was building this modern national identity, they were also tapping into something ancient. This concept, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, is thousands of years old, and it has this incredibly profound message. The world is one family. This idea sets the stage for a much, much bigger way of thinking. And that brings us right here. Being a global citizen isn't about having some special world passport. That doesn't even exist. It's a mindset. It's a way of thinking that recognizes that, hey, my identity, my responsibilities, they don't just stop at my country's border. They reach out to the entire global community.
So if it's a mindset, how do you actually get it? I mean, you're not just born with it, right? Let's take a look at how this way of thinking is actually taught and grown in our super connected world.
Well, there's actually a name for this whole field, Global Citizenship Education, or GCED for short. And its mission? Man, it's huge. It's all about empowering learners, giving them the tools to go out and actively build a world that's more peaceful, more tolerant, and more inclusive for every single person. So, UNESCO has this fantastic way of breaking it all down. You can think of it as the head, the heart, and the hands. It's super simple but powerful. The cognitive part is the head. That's the knowledge and critical thinking skills. The socio-emotional part is the heart, developing empathy, values, and respect. And the behavioral part is the hands, taking all that stuff you know and feel and actually turning it into real-world action. And these are the skills that this kind of education is trying to build. Think of it like a toolkit for being a citizen of the world today. We're talking about thinking critically about big global problems, finding creative solutions, being able to talk to people from different cultures, and, this is a big one, having real empathy and respect for diversity.
Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But what does it look like in the real world? How do we go from these big ideas to having an actual impact? Let's get into it.
The bedrock, the absolute foundation for all of this global action is this document, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's basically the moral cornerstone for the whole world, laying out these universal truths about dignity, equality, and justice that apply to everyone, everywhere, no matter what their passport says. Okay, so from that moral cornerstone, we move to an action plan. And I want you to just hold one number in your head. 17, because this number represents probably the most ambitious and concrete plan of action our world has ever agreed on.
So what's so special about 17? Well, those are the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs. This is literally the world's shared to-do list for creating a better planet by 2030. It's a roadmap for ending poverty, protecting the Earth, and making sure everyone can live in peace. It's a roadmap for us.
But it gets even more interesting. Inside those 17 big goals, there's one specific target that experts see as the master key, the one that helps unlock everything else. And that number is 4.7.
And this is why it's the master key. SDG Target 4.7 is all about making sure every single learner gets the knowledge and skills they need for, you guessed it, global citizenship and sustainable development. It makes GCED an official global mission. Because the thinking is, without changing our mindsets, without this education, trying to achieve the other 16 goals is pretty much impossible. Education is the engine that drives everything else.
So, all of this leaves us with one last big thought that she won. If we go back to that ancient idea, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, if the world really is one family, then what is our shared inheritance? What is the one thing we are all responsible for protecting and passing on together? That's a question for every citizen, of every country, and of the entire planet.